Okay. Anyone confirm my screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So today we'll discuss here topics are here ACL access control list and NAT network address translation and what virtual private network VPN. So today we'll discuss these topics here. So first we'll go through the ACL. So ACL stands for access control list. So what is the requirement of ACL? How we'll configure it and we'll check entire step by step process. So first of all, ACL access control list. So uh, we have a one LAN network here. So how it will be work ACLs and how because so first of all, what it will be do? We can filter the traffic. So here we have a, some LAN networks. So these LAN networks connected to some access which is these are the LAN networks. So multiple users are there. So we have a different subnets you can assume here. They are connected to each other. So again, they are connected. This is our LAN network. The LAN having some different prefixes, different VLAN prefixes and will be configured. So this LAN user connected over internet and we have again one another network, one another branch you can assume at a different location. So these different users are communicating over WAN. This is our WAN network. So what happened? This LAN having some traffic that is a that is web traffic or it's kind of data center. So here we have some particular prefix or some applications are there. So those applications, these applications don't want to utilize other users. So we can filter the traffic based on the ACL. So where we'll apply this ACL, we'll apply in this router. So coming over likewise, will whichever the traffic is coming, so we'll apply on this interface. We don't want to allow the traffic one all coming from outside. It's outside, it's unsecure traffic. So outside traffic is unsecure traffic. So we'll deny those traffic whichever they not required. Whichever not required, so we'll deny to those kind of traffic where in this inside the traffic. We'll deny or permit the traffic. We'll deny or allow the traffic. Will deny or allow the traffic. Whichever the required traffic will allow and whichever the not required traffic, unsecure traffic, will deny those traffic with the help of ACL, access control list. So here for that we have a two types of ACL. So like this user is unsecure, some users are there. So they are initiated some traffic over internet. It's coming to our branch traffic. So if we want to deny this kind of traffic, so we'll deny it our branch routers. It's a branch routers. So it will be possible. So we'll allow or will deny unnecessary traffic with the help of ACL, access control list. So we'll check now some types of ACLs. So two types of ACLs we have, standard ACL and extended ACL. First we'll discuss here Standard ACL. It is also called as packet filtering protocol. ACL will call it as like it is a packet filtering protocol. And basically it is a layer 3 security. It is a secure protocol. It will provide us our LAN network. It will provide to our LAN network is secure. So which control flow of traffic from one router to another router. So here you can check. So this is all are the router, ISP routers, one router to other routers. It will provide us to secure and packet filtering and flow of traffic. So it is a set of rules which is used to allow or deny specific traffic moving through the router. So whenever we are configuring the any ACLs, it will be rules. Those are the rules only. Whenever we are creating the allow or deny permits, allow permit or denying or something we are permit the traffic or something we are denying the traffic, those are the rules. It will work, ACL work based on the rules. ACL will work based on the rules. So for that, we have a two types of ACLs. So standard ACL and extended ACL. So first of all, it can be both named or numbered ACL. If you want to create any ACLs, so we can create as a named as a number. If we want to create a named ACL, yes, you can. So human can understand very easily. For that, we can give you some description name very well. So for that, if you want to give the name also A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whichever the, I am denying the traffic from branch one to this branch to this branch. I am denying some traffic. Yes, if you want to give some specific name, yes, we can give the name also. If you don't want to give some name, if you want to give the number also you can give. From range is start from 1 to 99 is standard ACL and extended support from 100 to 199. So we can deny or allow a network. We can in standard ACL we can deny or allow a network, a host, a subnet. But in extended ACL, we can deny or allow entire network also, one host also, one subnet also, and services also, like FTP service, HTTP service, HTTPS service, etc. DNS, DSCP, entire whichever the traffic, if the traffic you want to deny or allow with the basis of extended ACL, it will be possible. But in standard ACL, just we can deny only host and subnets only, or some single host or subnets only. And filter is done basis of nearest to source IP address. We can deny the traffic only based on the nearest destination, this nearest source IP address. And allow services will be blocked. And all the, all the services will be blocked. We cannot specify it. If you are denying something, means it will be deny entire services where in standard ACL. But in extended ACL, you can filter the traffic based on the services. Based on the services, you can deny the traffic based on the services. Yes. And now coming to extended ACL, filter will be done on the basis of source IP address, destination IP address, and protocol numbers. Filter can be done based on the source IP address, destination IP address, and protocol basis. Protocol means whichever we are using here, it will be done. So basically, access control list, it is a kind of packet filtering and it's a layer 3 security protocol. It is a layer 3 security. And what we will do, will allow or will deny the specific traffic. If you want to deny, yes, we can deny it. If you want to permit, you can permit it. Specific FTP, TFTP, HTTP, DNS, DHCP, or even though some protocols are routing protocols are. So entire thing based on you can filter the in extended ACL it will be possible. So two types are there in ACL, standard ACL and extended ACL. So in standard ACL we have a range 1 to 99 and extended range is 100 to 199. So these are all about the ACL. If you have any questions, ask me quickly. So standard ACL done. Here we have a two types, mostly standard and extended ACL. So now move to the network address translation. NAT stands for network address translation. What we will do with the help of NAT, network address translation. Basically, so here we have a so here we have some here definitely which IP addresses will use here private IP addresses. These all are the private IP addresses will use, and these all are the public WAN. It means in LAN network free of cost, whichever the free of cost, those IP addresses will use. Here also private IP addresses will use. And but if you want to communicate over internet at one branch to other branch, though private IP addresses are not routable. These are the not routable where in WAN. At internet, it will be not routable. So we need a public IP address. So we need a public IP address. So who will provide the public IP addresses? INA, Internet Number Authority. INA, Internet Assigned Number Authority, will provide the public IP address. Internet Assigned Number Authority, they will provide to us public IP addresses. We have to buy from them. If you are working in small size of organization, so ISP will provide, ISP, Internet Service Providers, they will provide to us a public IP address. If you are working in big organizations, like uh, if you are working in small organization, ISP will provide. If you are working in big size of organization, we have to buy from INA. So what we will do with the help of NAT? So limitations of IP addresses, we are using basically NAT service. What it will be do? It will be convert from private IP to public IP and public IP to private IP. It will be convert. NAT it means it will be convert the IP addresses private to public and public to private. So we have a multiple users here. They wants to communicate any different Google or different Facebook, any application over internet. So we need a public IP addresses. So here we'll configure outside interfaces will configure as a public IP addresses. Inside will configure as a our private IP addresses. Public IP addresses who will provide, INA will provide. Where will configure on this interfaces will configure. On this interfaces will configure as a These interfaces will configure as a public IP address. Public IP addresses and these interfaces will configure. These interfaces will configure. And our inside LAN networks will configure private IP address. So if you are using directly from this, if you want to using some OSP or any BGP routing protocols, if you want to flow, if you want to distribute these prefixes on over internet, these private IP addresses are not routable. will not route on internet. They will not route on internet. So that is the reason we are using here NAT services, network address translation. For that, we have a types static NAT and dynamic NAT. Dynamic NAT and PAT, port address translation. We have a three types. First one is static NAT, second one is dynamic NAT, and third one is private PAT, port address translation. Static NAT, here the communication happen one is to one, one is to one, one public IP address and one private IP address. Dynamic also one-to-one mapping only, one-to-one mapping only. But here PAT means port address translation. Many many private IP address to many private IP address to many private to one, only one public. We can map it. Only one public. So here we'll check. So NAT stands for Network Address Translation. NAT is a method which is used to translate private IP address into a public IP address. If we want to communicate via internet, so we must have registered public IP addresses. If we want to communicate over internet, so we have to register public IP addresses. If you are not registered public IP address, it won't your private IP address is not routable. So for that we have a three types: static NAT and dynamic NAT and PAT, port address translation. Static NAT, it is called as one-to-one mapping. Means for static NAT, we need to have a particular public IP addresses for a every single device. So for that, here we have one PC, PC1, PC2. How many users are there? That many users. So we need a one pool, pool of static NAT. So that many static NATs we cannot buy, we cannot offer it. So for that we have a NAT address. So in dynamic NAT as a pool only, it will be select dynamically. It will be select dynamically, but statically we have to configure. In static NAT we have to configure statically, but dynamic NAT it means it will be selected dynamically. Just we'll create a pool. In that pool, whichever the empty IP addresses are there, empty public IP address are there, it will be elected dynamically. It will be elect dynamically. So this one also one-to-one mapping, static NAT, and dynamic also one-to-one mapping. How many users are there? That many public IP addresses required. Here we have a four users, means four public IP addresses required. If you have 100 users, means 100 public IP addresses required. So dynamic NAT address translation. Dynamic NAT is a technique in which multiple IP addresses are mapped and used with an internet IP addresses, private IP address. So same static NAT and dynamic NAT both are same, one-to-one mapping only. Statically we have to configure in static NAT, and dynamic NAT it means it will be elect as a dynamically, but 1:1 ratio we need. So we cannot offer that many IP addresses. So that is the reason we have a port address translation. Port, what it will be, how we'll configure it in port address translation. So we have a group of private IP addresses. These are the group of private IP addresses. Just will configure one public IP address. One public IP address is sufficient. Through overload command. Through overload command, we can easily configure it. That is what in NAT, network address translation. NAT stands for network address translation. Will convert from private to public and public to private IP address. Any doubts in NAT? Now move to the VPN concept. VPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. What it will be do with the help of VPNs? So basically, what happened? We are trying to communicate over ISP. So this is our ISP, Internet Service Provider. So here we have a multiple users. So these users wants to communicate with users at a different location. They are at different location. They wants to communicate this LAN to this LAN over internet. It was not a secure, and it is not a secure also. Nowadays also it is not a secure. So for that, we'll create one tunnel. We will create. This is over internet. This is the internet is there. Internet service provider will make a reachability in between. Once reachability is done in between two branches, once reachability is done, what we will do? We'll create one a secure tunnel. One secure tunnel will create. It's a tunnel. In this tunnel, our entire traffic will be flow. In this tunnel, once it's kind of your underlay. This is your underlay, and this one is your overlay. Overlay. So your traffic is passed through this overlay network. That is what VPN. This is a VPN, virtual private network. When we are creating through overlay, that is your virtual private network. So how it will be possible? So VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, is a private network created over a public network for safe and secure. So here we are creating over public network for what? Safe and secure communication. So it uses to tunnel. Actually uses tunnel to allow remote users to access organizations private networks, or VPN uses network secure protocols like IPsec to provide privacy and data integrity. So mostly whenever we are creating any laser line, sorry, a GRE tunnels, DMVPNs and MPLS, so in that over will use here not a JGRE, only GRE, generic routing encapsulation actually. So in that over will use IPsec tunnel. So IPsec is provide to us security, and GRE is a plain text actually. So basically, guys, try to understand here. So we have a reach, will make a reachability on one network to one branch to other branch with the help of internet. With the help of internet, once reachability is done, we'll create some tunnel interfaces. Those are the virtual interfaces. Those are the virtual interfaces actually. Virtually, we are creating. Virtually, we are creating one interface and just will give the IP addresses to that virtual interfaces. So just we are creating some virtual interfaces, will give the IP addresses and we can communicate easily over internet. So that is the overlay network actually. So with the help of VPNs, we can make it as a possible. So now coming to here. So for that we have it different types. So leased line means earlier though it is so costly. Leisure line. So here we have a one branch, and so ISP we have a branch one and branch two. Here we have a two branches. This is you can assume any network, any ISP, they are providing one leisure line is ISP is providing connectivity in between branch to branch. No one share media is there. No one can share. But when we are using GRE something, that time they will provide to us different MPLS network. And that MPLS network also it is share media. You can assume this is your branch. We are working. This is a IBM branch and IBM branch, and this one is a big pro. And they will provide to us. This is a share media. Wipro is there, and this one is the IBM. So this is the share media. But leisure line is one-to-one connectivity, one-to-one connectivity. No one, it will be share in between. That is leisure line, and it's so costly. So GRE, generic routing, and so we cannot offer leisure line services. So we have to create some GRE tunnels, DMVPN tunnels, MPLS, L3 VPNs. These are the types. So first we'll discuss here GRE tunnel. Generic routing encapsulation. It is used to make communication possible between two different private networks. It is a Cisco proprietary. We can use this service only in Cisco devices. That is the reason it's Cisco proprietary. And it used when packet needs to be sent from one network to another network over the internet. If you want to send one network to another network some packets, so here we have it. It will be created tunnels with the basis of GR. So it used to have virtual point-to-point tunnel. Virtually, we are creating point-to-point tunnel. It is not to be encrypted. So basically, some issue is there in GRA. It is not a point-to-point network actually. It is not a point-to-point network. GRE tunnel is much easier to configure. It is much easier to configure. So some drawbacks also is there. It works at point-to-point network type only, and we need a static public IP address. If we are configuring, we need a public IP address. That is what here we have to use the NAT service, network address translation service. So there is a no feature to perform encryption. So here we don't have a feature. Which feature? Encryption feature not there. So it will be sent only the plain text information. It will be only plain text information. Uses only when we are sending the data from one point to another point, whichever the data X, Y, Z you are sending, it will be reached from point to point. So internet also can visit, it will be visible. So that is the reason when we are using the when we are using the GRE will use will use IPsec. IPsec protocol is there that will use. It will provide to us secure channel. It is providing us secure, and this is a GRE. So when we are using the IPsec, there we should have to use static route only. It will not support dynamic routing, but GRE will support dynamic routing. That is the reason whenever we are using the GRE over IPsec, that time we can utilize dynamic routing also, and apart from that, and security also. That is the reason in enterprise networks they will use mostly GRE over IPsec. So this is all about. So these are the advanced topics we'll discuss later on. So today what we discussed here, ACL and NAT. Apart from that, we'll discuss the VPN. If you have any questions, guys, please feel free to ask regarding the today topics. If you have any questions, please ask me. Stop the recording.